Welcome back to another episode with ByrdAdatto. Hope everyone had a joyous weekend, and we definitely have been trying to do a lot of different type of videos. I know a lot of people are concentrating on just COVID-19 in general. Today, we wanted to readdress some issues we've had in the past with telemedicine rules and how the OCR has been looking at it. The OCR, like a lot of agencies, has been very active giving out notifications, and we thought today would be to come back and address some things they've been releasing throughout the month of April, and giving you some updates about what's happening. And Michael, we have a special guest again.
Yes, I think this is Jay's second appearance. For those of you who don't remember or haven't heard Jay speak, Jay Reyero is a partner at ByrdAdatto. He is a definite OG. He's been with us his entire career and much of Brad and I's careers. And he is going to give us an update on what the OCR has been up to. That's the Office of Civil Rights.
Yeah, and Jay, I think jumping in there is they recently have released some information out there on some investigation powers, and maybe you can jump in there and start talking about that.
All right, thanks guys for having me. Yeah, the OCR recently released some notice about enforcement discretion regarding business associates. Apparently, a lot of business associates are running into an issue with agencies seeking information related to the COVID-19, and their business associate agreements weren't expressly permitting them to do that. And under the typical HIPAA rules, their business associate agreements have to expressly allow for them to disclose or use PHI when you're talking about public health or health oversight activities. So they're running into this conundrum, either delaying or just outright denying these requests. So the OCR stepped in and said that they would take some enforcement discretion so long as these disclosures were made in good faith and that the business associate notified the covered entity within 10 days of that disclosure, that there wouldn't be any enforcement actions by OCR in those situations. A couple of things just to keep in mind, though. This doesn't preempt state law. We've seen that in some states, such as Minnesota, where agencies are looking for release of information, and covered entities as well as business associates are just prohibited under the state laws for doing that. So you're seeing a lot of actions and legislative type actions across the country in different states trying to allow for this sharing of information without any potential retribution from a confidentiality or patient privacy claim. The other issue under the OCR enforcement discretion is that it still requires the associate to do minimum necessary information, and it also requires them in the transmission to adhere to the security rules. So it still needs to be protected when they're disclosing that. And then one interesting nugget is they made clear that this doesn't address the contractual issue. So if you're doing something outside the business associate agreement, there's still that conflict there from a breach of contract issue. So they're recommending that covered entities and business associates really work together to kind of modify their current agreements so that that issue doesn't really pop up when everyone's trying to share information and help circulate information during this pandemic.
Perfect. And as we were talking about at the beginning of this, the OCR has been pretty active and releasing lots of different updates. And they released another update earlier, I guess last week, as it relates to fraudulent investigations. And maybe kind of touch on that too, Jay.
Yeah, unfortunately, during this period, we have people that are trying to take advantage of the situation, and there's been some individuals going around trying to pretend to be OCR investigators and seeking access to sensitive information, presumably for identity theft purposes. And so, what the OCR just wanted everyone to remember is they need to dust off their HIPAA policies. They need to evaluate what the policy is to make disclosures. And anytime an investigator, agency, or someone else comes in with a request for information, it should be directed to the privacy officer or the compliance officer. And there should be a process in place to make sure that that person is who they are. It's some kind of verification process, and it needs to go through the proper channel. So covered entities, business associates should all kind of take the opportunity to look at their policies, dust them off, make sure the staff are properly trained and updated on it, just so someone like this does show up to a facility, you're prepared to address it and make sure that when you do provide information, you're doing it through the proper channels.
Yeah, and I'll add, just from a broader perspective, anytime someone claiming to be a governmental representative, no matter where they're from, shows up to your office, you want to verify who that is. You want to see their credentials and even reach out to that office to confirm that that they're actually who they say they are.
Yeah, I think the last thing to add on to everything that was said so far is just remember, everyone, there's a pandemic going on right now, and a lot of the laws that we typically have to worry about are being relaxed by many different agencies, not just the OCR. So if it, just keep that in mind. Just because it's relaxed doesn't mean you can do whatever you want, but it also means that you should be a little bit more suspicious than you normally would be if someone says, "Hey, I think you're doing a start violation here," or "There's an anti-kickback implication," or "I think you had some type of material breach when it comes to protecting patient privacy." You should be a little more suspicious that the federal government would be interested in doing that type of activity right now with all these different state emergency orders and all these federal emergency orders. So just be on the lookout for those type of things. And I think obviously safety is important, but in keeping your all your information protected is also important. And I think that's all the time we have today. Unless anybody else has anything else to wrap up on. Thank you. Thanks for coming back, Jay. We appreciate seeing you again, virtually as usual. And,
Thanks for having me.
And then we'll look forward to our next episode.